It's always going to be me who's louder. So look, watch. Yeah. Because I have to turn this bitch's volume up whenever we record all the time.
Mm-hmm. We listen to your podcast almost exclusively while we're driving, so like we're almost always getting into car accidents like whenever you come in, because like Clark will be talking, so we like turn it up, it's like, what the fuck is Clark saying? And then like you come in and you're like, yeah, and it's like,
well, and also all your fucking little sound effects that you put in that are like twice as loud as everything else.
Like, look at the waveforms, bitch. In my crumble opinion.
Diva Dudes. The worst of both worlds. Starring
Godzilla Princess
and
Toshi Maru.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. This is a very special episode of Diva Dudes meets In My Crumble Opinion.
In my crumble diva.
In My Crumble Stiltskin Diva.
Clark's having a... Hi, I'm Phoebe Cakes. I'm the host of In My Crumble Opinion. You probably don't know me because nobody listens to any of these podcasts.
Right. You don't know who I am either.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Angel Food Cakes. I am the producer of In My Crumble Opinion.
I'm the host of In My Crumble Opinion, Phoebe Cakes.
Oh, I am the face of Diva Dudes.
Fucking audio podcast. Yeah, exactly.
Podcast.
And I'm Cochina Rude. I'm the producer.
Yeah. Cochina gets me caffeinated, hits record, and then she has to do all the cleaning up and editing. And I go home.
I just prop this bitch up.
I'm very curious, like, what do you use to record?
We open up a laptop and we speak into it.
It sounds like
yeah, you can hear when Clark's like leaning away, like sitting back.
Yeah,
you can hear it. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: we, from the very beginning, wanted Diva Dudes to be just a fun time. Like, we don't want to put money or effort into this type of gig.
It's giving effort
because I feel like we kind of all need more of that. It's like there's such demand for us as drag performers, and we're all supposed to kind of just be arriving at our best. And we thought, you know what? Why don't we like have fun doing a mediocre job at something?
Yeah,
have fun.
If people want like nice quality sound, like go watch their thing. We're just farting into a computer and hoping people tune in. And we've tried adding equipment, and it sounds like caca. We don't know what we're doing, so we're like,
Well, or it's like I'm just not tech savvy enough, and I don't like care enough. So then I just give up.
Well, it took us a while to kind of dial in the audio. It took us a while to dial in the video too. But like the episodes from that early season of Crumble sound terrible.
Well, yeah, I mean, every episode there was a new like sound device. There was like, okay, now they have microphones, and now they have this.
Yeah, this is really lovely. I love this. I love that I got the other wireless.
Do you feel like you're at a drag show? Well, see, what I love about that we have an audio thing, like I love that there's no comment section, because that was like where I was like, oh, this is a one-way thing. If you have something to say, you can come up and say it to us. But by the time that episode is released, we have recorded it a month ago. So we already forgot what we talked about. And there are times where people have come up to me and be like, oh, girl, you said this on the podcast and I like disagree with you. And I'll go, I don't remember saying that.
When we started, we were very prolific because we were like, oh, this is a RuPaul's Drag Race recap show. So it has to be topical. So we were recording it and uploading it immediately. We were like doing no editing, just like, chopping the front and end. Yeah. So there was no editing of any kind. We were just like uploading it straight. And so a couple of times we got in trouble with people because we included things that later they were like, oh, I didn't really want to say that.
What did RuPaul say? Blame it on the edit? Because you're the one who said it.
Oh, yeah. You're the one who said it, girl.
Oh, yeah. You love quoting RuPaul.
I also, well, speaking of RuPaul, on Princess Pinocha's episode, you said something so funny that I like kind of quote all the time. Where you're talking about, you were like, yeah, I'm a RuPaul apologist. I love RuPaul. And you like had a story where like season 3 or something, Manila Luzon comes out with like a pineapple bag, and RuPaul's like, she's got a bomb, everyone down.
I love that shit. That's camp. That's funny. I love that kind of shit. I mean, yeah, I'm a RuPaulogist. I still am, like, and the more evil and like obvious that she doesn't care about anyone that competes on that show. Like, the more I love her, the more that she's like, the more that she has.
The more evil, the better.
The more, like,
honestly,
reading her book and finding out that she has like an end of the world bunker. I'm like obsessed.
She's
like,
honestly getting better.
She's getting better.
Like, she's funnier
so
than
funny.
ever.
And she's
Well, she
becoming
discovered TikTok. I think is also part
Well, she's
of
getting
it, yeah.
funnier, and like she's getting richer, which means she is more removed from reality. And like I love that. Ugh.
Work.
I will say that I was very inspired by In My Crumble Opinion. I'm just going to give you your flowers at the very beginning of the show because it's not going to happen again. So be sure to replay it as needed. I love that y'all just decided to do something on your own that was self-produced and that was entertaining and that was like for our community of like Bay Area drag performers. And you know, you've had many guests. You've also just done your own videos, and I just like appreciate that. And I think that more people in our community could learn that you can just do stuff
Yeah.
like whenever you want.
Yeah, just do shit.
I don't know how you feel about inspiring what happened over here, but
Oh, we love it.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're
we-
fans.
Yeah, we.
Yeah, okay, good.
Mimi Cherry's podcast, Soph Pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, series of fortunate events. She started a podcast before us, but she revived her podcast because she was also inspired by In My Crumble Opinion. But I'll say, she's like, we did not set out to inspire anybody to do podcasting. I think we just
Mea culpa.
just kind of like fell into it by accident. I was like, oh, you know, it'd be cute since we're in drag and we're like, have all this equipment. Like, let's review RuPaul's Drag Race.
Right.
And invited Lucinda Puss to come over. And then just most of the time we talked to each other. I was like, oh, this is actually what I'd rather do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it came out of the digital drag era where we had all this like equipment. We dropped the recap pretty quickly and we're like, let's make this about our guests.
I don't remember. How long did the recap last?
Maybe
I mean, we probably did that
4 weeks.
season.
Oh, wait, I recapped.
You
I
were.
recapped with you guys.
Yeah, I'm a RuPaulogist. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we did it for that season, but like each like successive episode, like less and less, like a fraction of what we were recording would be about RuPaul's Drag Race, and
Right.
and more about like
Yeah,
Bay
I think
Area.
we had no interest in talking about Drag Race. But I was gonna say this. Do you think we should put a cap on podcasts? No one in the Bay.
I think we'll know it when we see it. You know, there's gonna be one that it's like, oh, it's dead.
Is there
it's
someone
this
that you
one.
think should be podcasting that isn't?
Well, they've been
I
talking
know that
about
people
it.
that
I don't
shouldn't
know.
be
If
we
podcasting,
have some
yeah.
friends who've been talking about it who I actually think would be great, but this is what it is. They just need to do it.
Maybe if we say it on this, it'll light a fire under their asses. So Nikki, Jiz, and Betty Jane were talking about one.
Oh,
word.
yes. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. What would it be called?
I think they want to use some like racial slurs, so that it makes it difficult to say the name of the
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see. Okay, work.
Yeah.
You know that as soon as Nikki and Betty start a podcast, it's over for us.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
No, we were saying we need to revive our podcast this year so that we can run for Best of the Bay. Because I'm sure we could beat you two. But if Nikki and Betty start,
Well, I think
we will get swept.
How many people are actually voting on those things? Because I'm like,
I don't know.
I think it's a very niche
yeah,
community.
because I remember I got third place for internet personality,
Yeah.
and I think it was the one vote I got from Nikki Jiz that put me in third place. Like I think that's how many people are voting in those.
Yeah.
But we placed.
We don't listen to a lot of podcasts. We like when we're on a road trip and have some hours to kill, we'll listen to it then. But we're not like commuters who like put it on every time you're like going to work or anything. So we really only listen to like your podcast when we like have occasion to. So everyone should start these podcasts. But like,
oh, let's put on Diva Dudes, and it's always me like, I don't know if I need that.
but like everyone should start their podcast because they are very funny. But I probably will not be tuning in to any of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you started with giving us some flowers. Thank you very much. I just want to like also give you all some flowers and also clear the air because I feel like there's been some shadiness thrown left, right, and center. Sometimes by me, and almost exclusively at Clark.
Sometimes.
So I just want to say it's like, it's all in jest. I fucking love you.
Oh,
You're iconic.
I know. Okay.
No, I know you know.
I know.
But I just want to be like, oh, when you make a supercut of all the times I did it, that was like very funny to be like, oh damn, I do that a lot. But you're sickening, and you know, part of me.
Well,
is
I
like,
watched it all one right after the other. I was like, I need to catch up on these episodes. And I was like, wow, this bitch has a lot to say about me. And I also was coming down from like so many drugs from Burning Man. So I was like hypersensitive. And I was like, Katrina, Phoebe is trying me. And then she was like, girl, you're mad about something that happened a year ago. And I was like, well, you know, that's really common in the city.
And I do all the editing. So like I'll cut out things that are just like aren't suiting the episode or whatever. And once or twice I turned to Phoebe and I was like, this is like, you're really going in on her a lot. Is this too much? Like, can I cut this? And every time Phoebe was like, no.
I remember the first time I saw God's Little Princess. I remember this.
Stubble for days and be the most beautiful woman.
I disagree.
I like it. That's like, to me, that's a sign of like earned familiarity. So it's like, oh yeah, like, you know, we've spent time in dressing rooms, like we've like earned the right to like kind of dig at each other, and I do be looking like a hot cross-dresser mess.
I think we were saying this off camera earlier, but you know, Clark is our resident cross-dresser, but here's the thing. Part of why we wanted to do this crossover episode was because you guys also have a resident crossdresser, and Angel.
No one talks about Angel being a crossdresser enough.
All of her drag is like hussy bimbo drag.
It's like these little
Kitty
like
walk drag.
I was like, oh yeah, this is like kind of an Angel dress. Like it's tight and it's
from the gift shop at International.
And I was like, well, also this is what I wear. And I was like, wait. Oh my God, Angel's a fucking crossdresser. Why is no one else talking about that?
Why is no one talking about it?
Like earnestly, like actually, like truly honestly, one of my like number one drag inspirations has been Princess Pinocha since I started. So,
girl, you can get very far with a flat wig and like minimal makeup.
Yes.
A whisper. Me and Phoebe do not have this luxury, I'm afraid.
Yeah, we need to balance it out.
So Clark and I just did a pageant where Phoebe was a judge, and this was our gutter butt pageant. Mm-hmm. And I think it was a success. I had a great time.
It was successful.
I had a great time.
So Angel, what did you think about the gutter butt pageant?
I thought it was really good. I had a very good time. And I was kind of impressed by the competitors. Like, I thought that they were all, like, I went into it really wanting some, like, booger beginner baby drag.
Yeah.
And I thought that they did a good job of, like, delivering that, but also coming off as, like, kind of, like, polished. Not polished,
They
but,
came
like...
to compete.
Yeah,
They came to compete.
They seemed like they were all taking it very seriously, which is like the best thing you can do as like a baby like performer is like take it really seriously.
I loved my favorite part was the competitors, but like I fucking love a pissed off entourage. I love and like
are they real mad?
Let's get right into it.
I think Mezcal Lynn, we'll say her name. Mm-hmm. Mezcal Lynn's boyfriend was really drunk and really mad, and I think he sobered up the next day. You got tagged.
I got tagged,
and she got tagged.
Yeah.
I live. I thought it was amazing.
I live. Honestly, I live.
Mezcal Lynn herself was an incredible, very kind, nice, gracious contestant. So this is not a reflection of her. But I did tell her that she needed to collect her man. But she also won fan favorite because you know those Mexicans are gonna roll out.
They're gonna roll deep.
And she technically was runner up, but we can get into that in a second.
Okay, yeah. I will also say that I thought Mescaline did a great job. Mm-hmm. One of the people that I was rooting for. I could get into the weeds of like, you know, how I voted or whatever, but it's just like sometimes you're just like not scoring your favorites, you know, you're just scoring the category. So that's all I gotta say about that. And I will say Mescaline out of drag has been our server at and I
very good. Recommend.
I first didn't like her because it was cold and they sat us near the door. And then I was like, can we sit over there? And then she, like, rolled her eyes, like, sure. And I was like, bitch, don't roll your eyes at me.
Well,
it was a very surreptitious eye roll because nobody else noticed it, but I noticed it.
Oh, you felt
it.
Well, you know what? That's how you know that she's a drag queen.
The thing that won me over with Mezcal, when they're our waiter, they recognized my voice. They're like, are you... Phoebe Cakes from Crumble. They're crumb dumpsters.
There, she's a crumb dumpster.
Like, oh, she's definitely gonna watch this. And I just want to say, it's like, bitch, I gave you high points. We can look at the score sheet together. I love what you did. Control Top pantyhose, okay, expose it, but you know, like
I mean, she was amazing. Like, she did everything I wanted. She fell.
Yeah.
She got the bar dirty.
She did one of my favorite baby queen things ever, which is put down a tarp and then get your messy food number everywhere but the tarp.
Yeah.
She got it on the wall. She got it on the carpet. She got it like off the stage. Like, it was incredible. I lived.
I thought they all were amazing. I mean, also I love like kind of knowing some of their like personal backstories. Like, what's her name? Daphne Major being like a pup who gets like ravished by bears.
She was very much bringing like the I want to see this twink obliterated. And then we had Brittany Mills, aka Delulu Chanel. I'll say her full name because she's actually best friends with a sister podcast,
the Champagne Room,
Kitty Kapow and Barbie Bloodgloss. She is their official manager, but they also kind of just like made that up for fun also because she's their friend.
Right.
she's funny.
I thought she was the most polished of the night.
Yeah.
By far.
For sure.
It was not giving gutter.
No.
It was not giving booger.
That lip sync.
Do you think that worked against her?
No, I don't think it worked against her. I actually I was judging the categories pretty earnestly, you know. So like if you looked good, if you had a point of view, like you got high marks. I did dock her for lip syncing. Like the lip sync wasn't tight, and that was hard. But I mean, like, look at the score sheet, baby. You did really, really well.
Well, and that, you know, that like as a gutter booger baby drag queen, the one thing you can do is like lip sync your song well.
That's fair.
You know,
Yeah.
You can come out
like
the
everything
gate.
can be crunchy,
Mm-hmm.
but if you
Well,
like
because
hit your lip sync,
All gay people lip sync when no one's watching. So that
or
should be,
really they should when no one's watching.
when no one's watching.
I wish they would, but
That's
unfortunately we do get subjected to it. The last and then what I
Jazzy
mentioned,
Gio.
Jazzy Gio, who listen, we had to have Jazzy Gio because Jazzy Gio is someone who has been a huge supporter of our local drag community and saw us all the way through digital drag, was in the chat room every single
That's
digital drag
right.
show.
I was like, how do I know this name? It's very familiar.
Yes,
from the chat.
And when we transition back to, you know, doing things in person, also comes to our shows in person. And so I was like, this is our opportunity to like say thank you at the very least by like letting you embarrass yourself on stage in front of all these people
They
doing
had
something you've never done.
One of my other like a favorite, you know, kind of baby booger hallmark, which is like a number that's just like so opaque and confusing. Just like what is
Like, it
going
makes
on?
sense to you.
What
I
is
know-
the
I
idea
know.
here?
There was dry pasta and Parmesan cheese involved.
Oh, yes,
and
yes.
I don't know why.
I
Well,
think
Angel has a
I have a
theory.
theory because they were like in a spacesuit. So at first it was like, oh, it's gonna be Katy Perry, but it wasn't Katy Perry. So I think it was just like a different astronaut. But like the moon is made of cheese is like a thing.
Okay.
So I think maybe they were like making pasta on the moon.
Yeah.
that, you know what,
Let's
Angel?
give that to them.
See, this is why.
That's why we have you
I
around.
kind of got the mind of a mastermind, you know.
I'll be the first to say it.
And then the owner.
So
The
we
winner.
had a
Patricia.
Work.
So originally we had another contestant who had to drop out, unfortunately.
Garrett Schlichty.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
well,
brought some friends, and they only came because they were like, "Oh, Garrett Schlichty's coming, and we're trying to clout chase him, so we'll come to his."
They're foodie friends.
Yeah.
This is and so we were excited to have Garrett, not just because he's actually a real Food Network celebrity, but also because he's hilarious, and
And
we
he
thought
also
that-
Not Food
and
Network.
he has all the ingredients.
Oh, it's not Food Network.
It's
Is that
ATK,
It's
which is
Amazon.
It's PBS.
It was.
Oh,
Oh, I
it's
thought it was Amazon
Test
Prime.
Well,
Kitchen.
it is
Yeah.
on Amazon Prime.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
see, I don't watch TV, so I don't know.
And he's got all the ingredients for a drag queen, just
Uh-huh.
doesn't do it.
Yeah.
So we're like, yeah, her obviously.
Natural hair.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and here's the thing with throwing a gutter butt pageant, we have to expect to some degree that this is not something that I normally do. And so we have to be understanding if people have to, for whatever reason, drop out of a drag gig commitment. Because in his case, I think he had a real job gig thing. He had to do
right.
first. So
Beta
like a
Breakers was
personal
happening,
chef or
and that's
something.
just like, oh, that's too much.
we weren't sure who to decide, and then I had this idea because Eli's Mile High Club is in the middle of like this really horrible legal scenario with like these neighbors of theirs who are ill-intentioned. I'm just gonna say that.
That's always the fucking neighbors.
And, you know, Eli's is a legacy business, is a former jazz lounge, has been an Oakland staple for many, many years, and is not like a gay bar, but has supported queer events consistently. And so I've thrown many events there between my band and drag. And I was like, Clark, what if we asked the owner of Eli's to do this pageant? And it's part of the prize of the cash. So I was just like, this might be like a cute way to like get all these people who work at this bar who are not necessarily members of the drag community to like be invested in it. And so he agreed and he won.
And it was rigged in his favor.
Well, he is like a straight 50-year-old metalhead guy. And so I was like, I am very curious to see what you're going to do. Committed, shaved his beard, didn't wear heels. Didn't wear heels.
Take that trophy back.
But some people were thinking that it was maybe rigged because the owner of the bar won the pageant.
Well, anytime you have like a special hidden, like surprise competitor or something, you really hope that they're either going to be the winner or like the worst one. And he fulfilled that. I mean, I watching it was like pretty torn because I thought the competitors were all pretty even. There wasn't one that I was like, oh, that's the winner.
They were all great.
Yeah. But if I like gun to my head was to pick one, Patricia was my
Plastic
winner.
Limited.
Yeah.
And there was just something about like what they presented that was actually nostalgic for me. Like it reminded me of T-Shack days, like those kinds of numbers. I don't know. I enjoyed what they brought.
Camp.
That's camp. It was camp, and they had that little blue, fresh out of the bag wig, and that was giving actual like motel room cross dresser.
Like you could see the plastic shag.
Back room of Powerhouse.
Version of it later.
Yeah,
it's smart.
How many applications you get? Like how competitive was it?
I think we got like 20.
We got 20,
like 20 applications. Yeah. How we just decided like who we were gonna have is like people that we knew got that it was a booger pageant, so we didn't want anyone that was a little too earnest.
There was also one applicant who like dead ass like does drag. She is booked. Like she's like already the drag daughter of one of our sisters.
And
we're
in the Google form, one of the questions we asked was like, have you been booked to do drag before? And she answered yes. There's so many moments in the application where it's like for first timers only, and she was like, yeah.
No, they always tell you like apply for the job you're not qualified for. Like lie on your applications, always do it.
I guess maybe it would be worth just saying like this is a drag pageant for specifically non-drag performers. Just to state the obvious by now. One of our judges didn't even know that was the whole idea until she showed up. Militia.
Yeah. I don't think Militia knew a lot of things.
We love our diva who has never read an email in her life. Like she's never looked at the information for the gig that she agreed to do.
I don't know if this is we can cut it out, but when you're like, oh, we can have someone perform, and she's like, I'll do it. She's like, I'll send you my writer. And she spelled it WRITER, which is very funny to me.
Like she was trying to stun on me, and I was just like, well, not so fast.
Well, learn how to spell first, bitch.
So Phoebe and Clark, this was originally, I think, supposed to be a gig that you guys were going to do.
Well, I was going to have Phoebe host.
Yeah.
And then when I kind of realized that there was going to be like more
marketing opportunities for Diva Dudes.
And also that it was like that we were going to be fundraising for Eli's Mile High Club. I was like, I don't think I can offer Phoebe like a hosting rate.
Like a real gig.
So I was like, I'll just have her judge and pay her less.
I did get the sense I was demoted. It was like, you're going to judge now because things changed at Eli's. They're like, what does that even mean? But
well, that was the nicest way of saying like, yeah.
No, but I love to judge.
Well, and I'll say this also, Mama Celeste was like, I was going over it with her, and then she was like, oh, you're gonna have Phoebe host? Why? You should host. And I was like, what?
That's a really good Mama Celeste impression, by the way. Yeah.
We have gathered here in this glitter-stained alley of sin and sass to bestow a blessing upon the most unholy and glorious of events, the Gutterbutt Pageant. We call upon St. Judy of the Loud Belts, Saint Divine of the Filthy Fabulous, Our Lady of Everlasting Shame. May their wigs be ever high, their morals low, and their tucks mighty questionable. May their cheeks be ever lifted by faith, duct tape, and sheer force of will. May their dance moves seduce the damned and confuse the innocent. May their lipstick stay sharp, their heels stay higher than their standards, and your gutter butt stay proudly out and proud.
I don't remember like your specific score sheet, but
how it
did
played
you
out.
did the person win match like who?
Yes, I think for me, Patrizia was my favorite. I think there's like a lot of thoughtfulness between the categories. There's the craftiness of the gowns, you know, trash bag drag, just like really spoke to the spirit of the night, you know. I don't know. I just like it was a fully conceptualized show that she put on.
Yeah.
You know, every time she stepped on stage. And Mary and I kind of get, and then dressing him in a trash bag. It was good.
And you know, when she turned around in her runway look, and
butt.
everyone saw her butt, like the room stopped.
It was a nice butt.
The
oh
room
my
stopped.
god, Loma
The world
was so
stopped.
horny for that butt.
Of course she was.
So, speaking of Loma, I guess we can address all over the judges of the Gutter Butt pageant were our friends and contemporaries who actually really are, in my opinion, pillars of the community. First and foremost, Phoebe Cakes right here, sitting right here in front of you.
When you asked us to like name our accolades, I was like, "That's a little shady. I don't have any."
Well, that was why
I qualified. And I was gonna say, it's just like as far as Katrina's concerned, I'm not. I'm not Honey Mahogany, so I get to be here.
Well, if you were Honey Mahogany, I would not have booked you. So. I decided to ask everyone to state their qualifications, but you could have made up anything. Be like, well, I'm a shady bitch. Fuck you. Yeah. Which was the case for Loma Prieta, because you want to talk about unqualified. So she won Miss Debutante 2018, and I was like, that's hilarious. And then
it was one of those like unopposed, one of those unopposed things. Yeah.
Right. And then Mary Weiss, who and Militia Skunt, who both are like consistently title holders of not just one but two titles at once. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that was the first pageant Mary was ever asked to judge.
Really?
Wow.
Mary was like, let me judge this. I've never been asked to judge a pageant. And I'm like,
God.
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
So
that's shady.
That's shady.
And then we had Chris Callie, because we needed the gay guy perspective.
Yeah.
And I actually think he was great.
I thought it was great.
I thought he took it very serious.
Yeah.
Chris Callie, for those who maybe are not on Twitter, is the opinionated super thought. His qualifications are OnlyFans and Just for Fans in that order. So,
and he will fuck a drag queen.
And he will fuck a drag queen. Yeah. So he's an ally.
That's important. He's an ally. Yeah.
Speak softly, carry a big stick.
The other thing I will just mention is that me and Clark independently reached out to people to be judges, and then we had this issue where we promised the gig to like too many people.
Oh, way too many people.
And by we I mean Clark, because
well, no, so I got a little twisted at a thing that I should not have gotten that twisted at. It was like an art event, and everyone was like pretty well behaved, and I just got twisted at it, and apparently had a conversation with and was like, "Girl, you should judge this pageant." But I forgot, and then like we released the flyer or something, and she texted me being like, "Hey, girl, like I'm looking for more details on this judging gig," and I was like, and it was after I had already told Katrina, I was like, "Girl, I asked way too many people to judge, and we have to like cut
the
some
newest
people."
Flyer, my name was like typed out and like added, like tacked on.
I'll address that.
But I thought it was funny and like part of the charm of the flyer. But I was like, is that shade?
Obviously tacked on after the fact.
I'll address that because it's funnier if I say it was shade, but I had my straight friend make the flyer and I just told him to copy the previous one. But then the problem is that he doesn't know, there's no context. So he just copies words and he forgot. So
no shade.
Yeah. No shade, but shade.
Do you like how it shook out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was pretty happy with it. We had like a rubric, or not a rubric, but like we had our own little like version of like RuPaul's Drag Race cunt that we never said on the mic once. But it was piss. And it was potential, individuality, skill, and style.
Love that.
And we didn't say it once on the mic.
No, that's okay. Like I wore a dress that was supposed to resemble a booger, and I forgot to say that on the mic.
Oh, okay.
We were just like, oh, this bitch is just showing up in couture.
This bitch is, we're like, okay, bitch.
Which
stolen
couture. I did it.
Whoa. All right,
well, I will say that it did give like the whole event just enough polish for it to be taken just seriously enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, the judges are like, we're not like jokey judges. You know, Militia and Mary are like the winningest people ever. Mm-hmm. You know, Phoebe and Loma are both like very accomplished and very polished drag queens. Yeah. Chris Callie speaks for himself. So, you know, it's good to have that as like an anchor to what is not just like boogery competitors, but also just like a very chaotic event, kind of start to finish.
Yeah, and I think if we were to do this again, like I think we have to now always have one judge who is completely obliterated on something.
The last thing I want to say about it before maybe we can transition topics, but just about, there's some people had some strong feelings about who they thought the winner was. People wanted then to know, well, who's the runner-up? And we told them who it was. We told them who it was. And so here's the thing. I'm just letting everybody know. So we're doing transparent. We brought the score sheet with us. It's like in a bag somewhere. Patricia Plastique Limited cleared. The rest of the contestants, again, all were amazing and did an incredible job and should be so proud of themselves. And they were all so close to each other. They were like each like a point away from each other.
Yeah, everyone almost tied for second. Patricia was the clear first.
Mezcal, if your boyfriend's watching, I have receipts, so I'm just going to tell you that. It was really...
Her boyfriend heckled the winner while they were giving their winning speech.
Oh, they were like, were they yelling recount?
Patricia took it very in stride, but also I think because she didn't realize she was being heckled, Mezcal's boyfriend said like boo or something, and Patricia was like, yes, trash, trash, and like started a chant of trash. So it was kind of beautiful. But I was like, oh no, you're being earnestly heckled right now. That wasn't for you.
I live.
No, and I said at the end of the thing, I was like, I implore all these girls to throw a fit.
Next year you should have Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
Well, we were hoping she would show up so she could announce second place. But and then and then I wanted to ask her like, do you think this is rigged? Do you think all these queens are friends with the winner? I love Vicky Cristina Barcelona. I know we're not talking about her, but she's my favorite. Like, she needs to win best social media personality.
Period, bitch.
For like all the wrong reasons, but like, oh, I love her. I'm obsessed with her. Yeah. I love the voices in her head.
I want to volley it to y'all because I feel like I did a lot of talking. What do you want to talk about next?
Well, I have this like annoying question. The framing is annoying, but it's something I've been thinking about lately because I'm getting older. And
we know.
Yeah, I feel like at a certain point you like kind of age out of like possibly getting on Drag Race, like diminishing like possibilities. So it's just like, okay, so I started doing drag. I was kind of young, but now I'm like old as hell. I'm probably never gonna get on. Not that like I love auditioning for it anyway, but it's just like, why do we do drag? It's just like what, like there's like the intrinsic value of drag versus like the instrumental values of drag. Are we doing drag to like get to a certain place in our drag career, or are we doing it because we just like love being in drag? I don't know.
I love being in drag.
Yeah.
I like cross, like I like as much of it's like a haha crossdresser. Like I am that. Like if I wasn't getting booked, I would still be dressing up. And I would still be going out. That's how I started. Yeah. I was going out in drag because it was fun. And I could get in without an ID, and then it was like getting attention from chasers. And I was like, this is fab. And kept on doing it. And then it was actually, I was so reluctant to being referred to as a drag queen. Like, I am a woman.
What did you call yourself?
I called myself a
Okay.
Like, that's what I called myself. This was like 2011.
Yeah.
So like the conversation was just different at the time. Yeah. That's when like what's her name was on Project Runway saying hot mess. Yeah, I like dressing up. I had no interest in drag. I always thought meant like transvestite, which I still think it does. I think when the conversation was happening, we got really locked in on it being used as a derogatory term towards trans women. But I thought it was like an umbrella term. I think a lot of people still agree with that. What happened was that word got introduced to the masses and it was being misused by people who weren't part of the community. And I think that's kind of why the conversation went in that direction. But I refer to myself as that because I viewed myself as a transvestite, and I always thought drag was a scale thing. Because at the time I wasn't even wearing wigs. I was like gelling my hair to the side, putting on frosty boots, like eyeshadow, wearing Leg Avenue and like the little scooty boots, and just like going to the club and like getting fucking shit-faced drunk and like trying to suck dick. That's like all and nothing has changed. And nothing has changed. And and so when people were like drag queen, I was like, no. And it wasn't even like a looking down on drag. I was like, no, that's like disrespecting the art form, because I always viewed it as like hip pads, big tits, big hair, like custom sequin outfits, and I was like, no, girl, this is not drag. And so that's how I viewed it. And then it was moving to San Francisco where I was like, well, if they consider that drag.
Well, just to recap for myself or paraphrase, so like some of your instrumental values are like attention you get from people,
attention I get from
fun,
community. Yeah, it's fun, and it's also like, you know, I don't really kind of sweat about what I call myself in terms of like gender identity, but it is like, I would be lying if I said there wasn't some gender affirming feelings that I have when I'm in a tight little dress with a flat wig, looking like, you know, if you squint your eyes, like looking like Veneno from a mile away. Like I feel that makes me feel good, and I also like being a boy. Like I like those feelings. So
what about y'all?
I don't know why I do drag. It's so uncomfortable. Like, it's expensive and uncomfortable. So I'm just like, why do I do it? And then it's just like, I do have like intrinsic value in performing. Like, even if I'm like in front of like a dead crowd, which I hate and I will complain about, but it's just like, even then it's just like, it's fun. But like otherwise, like, I don't know why I do it. Like it's so uncomfortable. I like being a boy. I like being comfortable. I don't like being cinched up. I have acid reflux from wearing corsets so much.
Same.
Yeah, so just like my voice is always hoarse. It's just like, it's crazy.
Well, and I think the other thing about drag that I enjoy, had gone to theater school coming from like an academic discipline, some of the things that had scared me off from things as precious as like theater was how like highfalutin it came off. And I love that drag is so lowbrow. Yeah. And that it's should like not there's space for like, you know, those academic queens and those like scholarly queens who kind of approach it with this sort of really, you know, cerebral. Isn't that what's her name said? I'm too cerebral.
Phoebe Cakes did say that.
Phoebe Cakes said that. But and so there are those girls that do like that smart drag, quote unquote. But like I like that drag is inherently lowbrow. Yeah. I hated performing because of theater being too whatever. And so like drag was like a nice departure from all that. Yeah.
Well, I feel like in your question is, you know, you're trying to work out this tension between like, you're doing art. So like, if you're doing art, you should be doing it at the highest level you can. You should be like achieving the most that you can.
Or like going towards something, you know, it's just like, I just find myself kind of like, well, what am I working toward? And that's a question that I'm happy to have curiosity about while I continue to do it. But I'm just like, I'm curious, like someone that's established as you two are, as accomplished as you two are, like, do you also feel like you're working towards something, or is it just you're doing it because it's enriching?
Well, okay, here's the thing. I never dreamed of doing this. Like, I moved to San Francisco actually a little over 10 years ago. And my first week of living in San Francisco, I met Fatima Rood, who would become my drag mother. And up until I saw her performing, I had this idea in my head of drag that it was just like what I saw on Drag Race, or what I might see at the Castro Theater, which was like campy and big and fun, but it wasn't like subversive in the way that Fatima was doing drag. And I wasn't interested necessarily in doing drag, but I loved how, like, seeing Fatima perform and, you know, stick these surgical needles all the way through her face while lip syncing to Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On. It like changed something in my brain chemistry, coming at it from like a completely different angle. Like, what is this? And then once my mind was expanded, I started to have this like ideas of like, oh, what if someone did this? Or what if someone did something to this song? Then I decided to just do it because, you know, the whole thing is like, you're not seeing the art you like in the world, you should do it yourself. But I purposely did not watch Drag Race for my first several years that I performed in drag, because I did not want that to be like a subversive influence, or subconscious influence rather. I didn't watch anything past season 5 until the COVID lockdown.
I was also similarly like put off by Drag Race when it first started, and my interest in drag was like peaked like right after I graduated. I would go to T-Shack on Tuesdays, get turned, I stopped going out so often because I go to DUI, and it kind of like reevaluated my relationship to like going out. So I kind of like put the prospect of doing drag on the back burner because, you know, I wasn't doing nightlife. But it wasn't until I got into Drag Race finally that I was like, oh no, actually I do want to do drag. You know, it got me interested in it again. And I could see the differences between the drag that I initially wanted to emulate to this, like, you know, this more, you know, commercialized version that's also very fun that I wanted to participate in. So, I mean, I guess what I'm personally wrestling with is just like, do I want to be a podcaster? Do I want to try to get on Drag Race? Do I want to have the most sickening show? It's like, I don't know what I want, but I keep doing drag. So
well, let me ask you this, Phoebe, and this actually has to do with my thought process around this topic. Does there need to be a reason?
No, I mean, I think that's where I'm currently landed. Like, I do it because it makes me happy. I have my family, you know. I like the little things that I make, you know.
You do have the bone structure for it. That is the only time I'll say that.
You know, I'm not here to like psychoanalyze, you know, my behavior. And
well, you just did.
Drag. But it's just like,
she's gonna announce she's quitting drag on this podcast.
No, I play around with that idea all the time. We're just like, after this, I'm gonna quit drag. It's gonna be so wonderful because like I love traveling, and it's just like when I'm like in drag, I am not engaging with my dog as much as I want to. I'm not like, you know, if I have like all of my weekends are like taken up by bookings because I work the rest of the week. So it's just like you can relate to that. It's just like I kind of want more Saturdays to myself. You know, totally. I don't know.
If and or when you quit drag, are you gonna go like the route of like Vivi and like, you know, start taking creatine and get like really big and buff?
I want to get. I honestly like. I don't get trim very easily. Like I've tried to like lose like my little pooch for like so many times. Like I'm never happy, but I will like bulk my arms up pretty easily. So like I intentionally don't work my arms out because I know it won't fit certain drag outfits. Yeah. But it's like it is actually like an internal struggle for me because like I do want big arms. You know, sometimes.
I do 100 push-ups a day.
Wow.
It doesn't stop. I don't have conflict about it. Is it coming from somewhere like you feel like in order to be good at something
she has a much more polished drag style than you do, so I think
that's the tea.
That's the truth.
I think a lot of it is just kind of like
you are more naturally beautiful.
Well, just like laziness. It's like I will buy off the rack if it looks good, you know, and I don't sew, so like I'm not sewing for my body type, so it's just like I don't know. I think
Yeah. No, I got you, girl. I guess. Wait, we're gonna say something?
No, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, you know, speaking on the whole, like, you know, getting buff and things. It's like one of the reasons why I also like drag is because, like, you know, like I put a wig on and some makeup, and people listen to what I have to say. And like, you know, I was like, cool, I can do that. I don't have to be like porn star hot to like for people to like notice me. I can just like do this. Okay, this is a little bit easier. Well,
Clark is the only person I know who considers drag to be easier than the alternatives.
Well, I guess like my other question, or like that was nested in that, is like, do you have like a goal you're working toward? I mean, you stopped doing Princess recently.
I did.
Yeah, and I feel like hosting a show that popular is somewhat like is a benchmark like that people work toward in their drag career. So you've crossed that threshold. You recently went to Colombia to speak on harm reduction in drag. I was like, what's next for you?
I'm gonna say I actually really love this question. That's why I'm like throwing it back at you, because I'm like so curious, because I actually do think about this a lot. I am not someone who's ever been a futuristic thinker. I've never been someone who's like the ends justify the means. I'm actually quite the opposite. For me, the means justify the ends. I've never been concerned about where I am going to end up in my career as a drag queen. The way I look at it is I'm like, if I love what I'm doing, then wherever I end up is like going to be the right place. Like I've just kind of trusted that would be the case, so I don't worry about it. Yeah. And actually, I think ironically, that mindset has gotten me into incredible places. Yeah. Because it's just not because I wasn't doing it for that reason. Like last year, I was invited to the White House.
Yeah, it's sickening.
It was sickening. It was crazy, and I was like,
and you're an anarchist. And did they pat you down? Like, what
they
was?
had your ass
like,
up in there.
They probably like read everything you've ever written online, and they invited you into the
I
White
locked
House.
my shit
Were
down.
you scared?
I did lock my shit down.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, like, I have had really amazing opportunities I'm very grateful for, but it was never because I set out with it as a goal. It's because I was like, I'm just going to like do my best every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then just do things that align with my values and whatever. And then things came of it. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess if I'm going to go to this international harm reduction conference, then I guess that's what I'm doing now. And I have future things that are very exciting that I also don't know how I ended up here, you know, to be continued. But yeah.
Well, that's what I actually want. My favorite thing about drag is that like it's one of the few art forms where it's used as a vehicle differently by so many people. Like for some people, you know, some people get in drag because they have this great business idea and they're like, okay, to get people to pay attention to this, I'm gonna get in drag and whatever. Right, and then
that's called weaponizing your BFA.
Weaponizing your BFA, or, you know, there's like, you know, or they quit drag and they become like, you know, Mr. Leather or whatever. They
trade one pageant for another.
Yeah, they trade one pageant for another. They all of a sudden you're like, wait, how'd your voice get so deep? Like you're 35. Okay, anyway, your voice just dropped. But then there's like, you know, and then there's other people who like, they're like, I love a fucking hobby drag queen. It like reminds me to like have fun with it because, like, I do think when it becomes such a money-making endeavor that it can suck the fun out of it at times, especially when it's the thing that is, like, keeping a roof over your head.
That's actually why we started a podcast.
Yeah.
Because we were so, like, how can we, like, do something that's a project that's ours, that's not, like, for money?
That's not for money, yeah.
Yeah.
That's, like, for fun.
Yeah. Don't start a Patreon because you will flip that system right around on its head real quick.
Oh yeah. Well, I created the domain and have not done anything with it yet.
Yeah.
So then maybe I won't.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, you said something to the effect of like, you know, when you're not thinking too hard about what you're doing, you know, like a lot of good things can come out of that, and that's basically what happened with In My Crumble Opinion, where it was just a kind of like off the cuff thing that we never thought would be that important to either of us that much. And now it's like the thing we're most known for, you know?
Yeah.
And I love that our viewership is low enough that nobody notices when we take a really long break. Season one, it was like 23 episodes. Like we were like knocking it out. Like,
it was like a full season of television.
You were giving the girls their
and
life.
Then season two
was like a Netflix season of television.
It was like six episodes.
But the quality was higher.
Yes.
That's right.
Were you guys dealing with a lot of like, how do I say this? Were you getting a lot of people who you're like, girl, no one wants to hear what you have to say, like asking to be on the show?
We have a list.
We have a list.
Every time, and they usually come up to me, and so I have kind of a running list.
Well, I tell people,
this
don't
person,
talk to me, talk to Angel. She handles.
So they come to me, and I have a running list because every time somebody says they want to be on the show, I dutifully write them on the list. But then there's like a second list that's like, okay, but here's the ones we actually want to have on.
Clark, for some reason, is the one who gets everyone up her ass trying to get on our exclusive podcast, which is literally us talking to my MacBook on my bed.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, you're gonna be disappointed if we bring you on.
It's not sickening.
It's not the thing, like, because I think people want what they see on TikTok, which is like sitting in a thing with the big mic thing, like with the headphones. Like, no, we are cramming onto her like double size bed.
My dog is in the room.
The dog is in the room. Last time we recorded, the dog was farting
and barking.
The last few episodes we've listened to, you guys are doing bits the whole time.
Allegedly.
We were just. Well, I mean, we just, you know,
very annoying to listen to, but also
well, right. And so
the way your voice changes, it's.
Oh.
I thought it was like a voice effect you were putting on. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. But like, It adds a dimension. It's fun.
Yeah.
I make sure that it at least doesn't clip. I know it's loud. I know it's annoying, but that's what you're getting. And that's the thing. Like, if you want to consume it, feel free, but you have to put up with it. I mean, I actually, at the end of the day, do want something that people enjoy, but I just appreciate having control over something that, especially in the drag industry, there's a lot of things that don't feel like are in our control, especially these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned I left Princess.
Yeah.
Which, you know, again, like I don't take it for granted, you know, like you're saying, this is hosting a show like Princess at Oasis is like a lot of people's career goals in drag. And so I feel so lucky that I was able to do that, especially being that me and Lisa Frankenstein fell into it because we were hosting shows on Twitch during lockdown. Like it just happened. Now Lisa's doing it by herself, but part of the reason why I decided to leave and also why we started this podcast last year is because I wanted a project that felt like I was creating a body of work that wasn't tied to someone else's dream.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, no shade. Like, I also, like you said, work a day job.
Yeah.
I want my weekends back. I want to hang out with my dog. I want to go camping. I want to like shoot my gun.
Because here's the thing is like, you know, we all see those queens who you're like, girl, like you're overthinking it, or like, girl, it's not that serious, and it shows, and they're like, you know, they're never happy, or they're constantly upset about whatever like social dynamics are taking place, and like I always see those girls, and I'm like, I just don't want to become that, and so if I continue like allowing myself to like make fun of myself and taking a sort of light-hearted approach to it, like I feel
levity.
Like, I will like continue enjoying doing it, and I'm not afraid to just not do drag. I often take breaks, and you know, and there's times where I like to be the guy who is like, oh, I quit drag and my voice dropped and now I'm dressing in leather. Like I like to be that guy every now and then. I like to cosplay as that man sometimes, and so I'm talking about.
I did just want to do a quick little shout out. You were just talking about things that people do because they want to see something and they do it on their own terms, and it's really cool. Oaklash just happened this weekend, and that's one of the quintessential Bay Area versions of that, where they've been doing this for 8 years
at large scale.
You know, no corporate sponsors. You know,
and it was like as good as it has been and better. Like. No corporate sponsors.
Yeah. I mean, there was just a write-up in the Chronicle about this. Yeah. All these large corporate sponsors are like getting cold feet, or they're pulling their funding from these large corporate pride events. But then like when you have the integrity to do community-based programming from the get-go, you don't end up having that problem.
And they didn't have to accept a single penny from that one guy.
Right.
They didn't.
Yes. So that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, brava. It was really, really beautiful.
We are approaching Pride season. Have you noticed that Pride gigs have dried up, or?
Yeah. I, in the past couple of years, have like returned to like focusing on, because I grew up in Sonoma County, and I've been getting a lot of Sonoma County gigs, and there's like, here's the thing, like San Francisco I think is fine and is gonna be fine in terms of like queens holding it down there. But I think like Sonoma County is wanting it and needing it, and I really enjoy getting to perform out there and
feed the children.
And like so I'm lucky to have like just like a couple gigs, like long-standing gigs there. But other than that, I'm like not super booked for this Pride. Yeah.
What about y'all?
Same. I mean, I noticed it last year, like a big drop because of all the Bud Light stuff. I mean, I don't even know what's going on with the world.
With Miss Thing, like, what's her name?
Yeah,
Dylan.
Yeah. But it's just like, it's crazy. Just how quickly things change and how conditional, that money is.
Well, I guess everyone here maybe has a day job technically, but like I feel like most of my like cohort of drag entertainers at this point are full-time performers, and like. That's just so amazing.
No eyebrows.
So much work, and
they have no eyebrows.
Daywalker City.
No eyebrows. No eyebrows and acrylics
at the grocery store.
My favorite is they're like, I'm going out tonight. I'm gonna draw on a brow, and you're like, girl, you look girl, you look crazy.
Girl, you look crazy.
Actually, so the girls that are tattooing their brows on are like temporary tattoo.
Oh, the temporary tattoo.
Yeah. It looks good.
That looks good. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad we're kind of moving beyond that. Like, I just scraped chalk across my forehead and called it a boy brow.
We all have eyebrows.
Well, because we're Diva Dudes.
Well, we're Diva Dudes. Well, here's the thing. I'm not a non-binary. I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm a very binary, very, very binary person. So, like, you're going to catch me in full drag or not.
Calling you they, them, that's fighting words. Like, when a doll is like, did you just they, them me? Like, do I look non-binary to you?
Where I was going with this. We, with day jobs, have, like, a privilege. Yeah. You know, like, I know that if I don't have Pride bookings, I'm still going to survive. I think it's important. When did we stop naming our privileges? You know what I mean? Yeah. People want to self-victimize themselves so much in their community, but the reality is there's someone next to you who's hungry. Yeah. There's so many people who would love to have that.
I love that you will try to price yourself out, and they're like, okay.
We haven't run into that problem yet. They keep
they're like,
being
like, too much.
Oh, we'll go with something else.
Bitch, I had this one disappointment recently. There've been a couple of like drag disappointments. Like I was supposed to do something with like FAMSF, you know, like the museum.
Oh,
yeah. And then that fell through, and then they replaced me with like, well, not replaced me. They chose Lady Camden and Darcy, and I was like, oh, I didn't know it was like such a crowded field. Okay, but then more recently, there was this like artist that was doing a tour, and she was gonna have her SF debut, and they asked for like a drag queen. And they're like, oh, cool, yeah, I can do it, and then that fell through because I asked for too much. I wanted to put on a show and book other queens. Yeah, I was just like, oh, actually, to like execute an idea, because I've been to like a show where like a queen opened, and it's like 40 minutes of like one drag queen. Like that's just too much. Yeah. Like you need to like.
We did years ago. It was like my first year of doing drag in San Francisco. Like kind of referring to myself as a drag queen and like taking bookings. I got to open for Peaches, like the singer, the band, like, and they paid us $50. But like we were invited to on her like tour bus after Outside Lands, and we just like all like it was me and like crunchy East Bay like Emeryville crossdressers that were all just like we're getting in drag for like shits and giggles, and we like got invited on their tour bus, and we were like all just had taken a Molly. So then we like get on the bus and we're like twisted, and she loved it and asked us to open for her, but was like, can you fill an hour? And we're like, and I was like, I'm 6 months into this, like I was like, fuck. And so I ended up just like booking a bunch of queens, and we just did this like we just did a 1 hour long track, and it was just like number after number after number after number.
Work.
Yeah.
That's sickening.
But then there was like
cool.
It was like 6 of us that had to split $50.
Yeah. No, we watched Benita Rose open for LEX, and it was 2 20-minute sets that she did. Right?
Yeah. And it was like, just like, wow, we're watching this woman just flailing her limbs all over the place.
I think that's when I think it's important for like maybe the girls to come up with an act outside of just like lip syncing, which like that's I like for some girls that's their bread and butter, right? Like, but I think we all come from some sort of background where we have the skills to like. Have you worked on like a one woman show or an act?
That was one of my what are they called, New Year's resolutions for the year. Is like, oh, I'm gonna work on a one woman show. Have not started, but I've been thinking about it.
Just like in the spirit of accessibility, I want to say for the audio listeners what just happened. If you weren't like, you might have seen it if you're watching on YouTube, but Phoebe just like reached into her shirt while Clark was talking and just like yanked her tits off of her chest.
Well, one started falling off, and it was just like, I'm not gonna have like one Cyclops like boob.
I appreciate that. Well, I think we should name that Miss Phoebe has been in drag far longer than any of us today, but she did take off her tits because she's had it.
Yeah.
What was the gig you were doing before this?
A mental health awareness fair for high schoolers at Tierra Linda High School in Marin.
Well, I hope they don't listen to this.
High school I've seen in my entire life.
The whole time Phoebe's thinking to herself, like, why am I doing drag?
No, well, okay,
what am I doing it for?
We were saying on the drive here, we're like, Phoebe loves an awkward gig.
Oh my god. Unique.
But I love an awkward. You know how many fucking retirement homes I have performed at?
That's incredible. I can't even imagine.
Twice in the memory wing, like performing for people with dementia and Alzheimer's,
so they can forget.
And then at one of them, like, know who you're booking. Yeah. I made a joke of being like, I'm gonna give them a performance they'll never forget. And like the nurse that I said that to was like, I was like, never mind, sorry.
Well, actually, something bad did happen. Not bad, but like somebody fainted during the show. There was like a little panel, and we talked about mental health and queerness and what we could do in community, etc. But while we were talking, somebody fainted, and it was like kind of scary. But then I was just like, well, as a drag queen, you learn, never to lock your knees for too long. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
You're like said that. Like they faint, and you're like, I have that effect on people.
That's crazy. I am thinking of a way to kind of loop this back around because I know we've been talking for a hot minute.
Yeah.
But this kind of goes back to like, why are we doing this, right? Mm-hmm. I come from a family of artists, and I'm not good at any art, but I've always been around it and exposed to it. And so I think something you said earlier about vehicles, like drag was just, I think, the appropriate vehicle for me personally to convey ideas or like become a larger than life person. And, I love the spotlight, girl. This is the perfect career for me. All that's to say is with the Pride bookings and with like, remembering why we're doing this, like equal parts being grateful for the gigs we have and also not accepting bullshit. Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of us are willing to put up with conditions or like pay scale that is just unacceptable to me. Mm-hmm. And if people don't have the budget for it, they don't have the budget for it because there's always going to be another gig. And if there's not going to be another gig, get yourself a fucking boombox, plop it on the sidewalk, and fucking give people a show.
Miss Thing.
People used to busk for this shit. There's actually a queen who does this downtown. It's Shane Zaldiva,
yes.
the pop-up drag queen.
Pop-up drag queen, yeah.
And I want us to remember that, like, as drag performers especially, like, I don't know why we put up with this bullshit. I'm sorry, from gay bars in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say it. I am no longer interested in producing events at gay bars in San Francisco. Period. Given the political climate that we're in, we are in a position where I feel like we need to be making demands. And the problem I have with a lot of these gay bars especially, they don't make demands. They're the first to suck up and suck in to politicians and other quote-unquote leaders in the queer community whose interests are all about cleaning up the streets from homeless people, criminalizing drug users,
lining the pockets of cops.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know why in the queer community especially, because this is not something I run into the punk community as much. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm like, I would rather go somewhere where my values are versus somewhere where, sure, maybe I share queer identity here, but I'm not aligned with whoever it is that you just invited to fucking speak on stage. Like, that person hates homeless people. I'm so sick of the queer exceptionalism in San Francisco, and I'm sick of all of you. Mm-hmm. We all should be collectively thinking about this now more than ever.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Cochina, can you donate 1,000 units of Narcan? By the way, you have to eat Daniel Lurie's ass while you're doing it too.
I'm gonna say no, bitch. And then when someone is surprised that I say no, I'm like, where have you been? Sorry, that's my soapbox. I had to say it.
Damn.
Hallelujah. She need to run for Oakland mayor when Barbara's
she came on that bitch mad as hell. Mm-hmm. I made a tweet when the Oakland mayor's office opened up, and I said, we need to force Cochina to run for mayor. We're going to make her do it.
I will never name a specific politician, but
I did.
I just hate all of them equally. So that's really the tea.
Well, I think the fun thing that I have of doing stuff with Cochina is, even though she is not a politician, she does have to maintain some degree of diplomacy, and I do not. Mm-hmm. I will say a politician by their name, and I will be like, fuck you. I will tag them, and I'll be like, KYS. And I'll be like, yeah, girl, I never called myself a political drag queen. I have not sworn myself to diplomacy whatsoever.
One thing, it's an Easter egg that we do on our podcast. I censor derogatory language that for me, but not for Clark.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, like, I had, like, brief story, like, a certain bar in San Francisco learned the hard way of why they should not give me a microphone at times, because we won't say the bar. I won't say the bar, but maybe I will. I don't know. It was
we'll flip it.
And they had asked me to do the ribbon cutting for the plaza, and they did not tell me that I was going to be giving London Breed and Scott Wiener an award. Like when I was about to go on stage, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna pull a stunt. They gave me the mic, and I was like, and I didn't say anything crazy. I just was like, all right, and now we're going to present Scott Wiener an award for whatever it is he does, and that's it. And they were really mad.
They're gagged.
They were gagged.
Oh my God.
So and then they never asked me back.
Right.
I have one final question that maybe we can end on for asking each other. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
What is one thing that doing drag has taught you? And what is one thing that you still haven't fucking learned after all these years of doing drag? Would you like me to go first?
Sure.
One thing that drag has taught me is I have my real eyebrows, right? I've learned that if I rush gluing down my eyebrows, it fucks up my whole entire eye makeup, my whole face. It's worth taking the extra 10 minutes to glue them down the right way. And one thing that I have not learned after all these years of doing drag is how to dance. Earlier, you were mentioning about your voice is fucked up. You have acid reflux from doing drag. I have bunions.
Yeah, that bunion is fucked up.
And the sad irony is that I don't even dance.
No, I love what you've learned, because I've also learned that, like, I think a lot of drag performers spend like 30-40 minutes plus on their eyes and then like 2 minutes on their lips. And I'm just like, no, take the same time that you take for your eyes to also do your lips, because they're important. One thing that I've learned doing drag is it's never too late. You know, like I started when I was over 30, and I think that's like, you know, for 20-year-olds, you know, it's like you might as well KYS. But it's like it's never too late to like start something new and learn something new. One thing that I haven't learned is how to better manage my money. Like I'm not any better at money.
Yeah.
And doing drag will not help you in that. Like it's money in, money out almost all the time, unless you get really smart about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I am learning is like, it's a little bit of a cliche, but it's like you're never not done learning, and because there are times where like we're all reaching like a certain milestone in like how long we've been doing it, and so it's easy to kind of fall into the like, oh, there's nothing new to learn, and then like there'll be times where like I like as simple as like, oh, this is why people love like the dip like eyeliner. Because like it's like a little bit easier to control. I was like, oh, I've just been doing liquid and my life has been miserable. So it's like little things like that. Also, not a new thing, but something I've recently learned is like, as much as I want to be this like irreverent, like badass bitch or whatever, like still having some integrity in your work is important. And like, yeah, there's something to be said about that. And also the last thing, and I've learned this very recently as well through Coachina, is like, especially when you're a drag queen, people are looking at you even if you don't think they are, and people are paying attention to you even when you don't think they are. When you go into rooms, just say hi to people. It like means a lot if you just go up to someone and smile and say hi. Like that could actually change the whole night for someone. And so I think that's like important, like just be aware of like the vibe you're putting out. So that what I haven't learned is my brows sweat off. I don't know what I'm doing. I barely even put on any makeup. So for that to all sweat off like so much, it's like, and I don't know how to sew, girl. And I'm like, it's like there. It's like there's no excuse, and I'm
What I've learned from drag, you know, sort of thinking about this earlier, but just like you can just kind of do anything, like not just in drag, but you can just do things. Like you don't have to like wait for permission or like apply to do things. You don't have to fill out an application. You can just like go and do it. Which was kind of what got me into drag in the first place. Is like I started going to like the Port Bar for like drag race viewings and saw BB Sweetbriar there. She was like my first like drag queen that I was ever kind of infatuated with. I know, she was at O'Clash yesterday and she like kind of killed it, and I was like, oh, there's a whole crowd of brand new BB Sweetbriar stands and I've been here.
Oh, I love that.
I thought she was just like so funny and cool, and then like after a little while realized that she like knew who I was, and it was like this celebrity talking to me, and I was like, oh, I can like interact with these people who I think are really cool and just never stop showing up. Something that I have not learned is how to do a cut crease.
I mean, because you start your eyebrow at the natural.
I just don't do
spot,
it. I'm sure I could,
like,
but I don't do it.
This is why you're the honorary cross-dresser of In My Crumble Opinion, because you could walk down the street and ain't nobody clock you, fucking bitch.
They think you're
Jada
Pinkett Smith.
Cut crease who? Where? You know, I need to do a cut crease because I'm wall-eyed. So if I don't do it, then my eyes look crazy. Like my eyes are literally a different direction. So fuck you for that.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming over and finally doing this with us. This was fun.
I don't know how far away this is, but like I think it's been pussy shot. I think it's pussy.
We could learn
Just
out.
not
Yeah,
Gus.
I think it is pussy shot.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Cochina Rude.
My name is Clark.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
I'm Clark.
That's Stumpter. Hi, it's Phoebe Cakes. Thank you for listening.
And Angel Food Cakes. I was in front of the camera this time, and don't tune in again for that, expecting that, because it's not happening.
We got a special treat, and we are Diva Dudes, and
We are in
My Crumble Opinion.
you can find Diva Dudes on Spotify. It's also on Substack at cochinarude.substack.com. YouTube coming soon.
You can find In My Crumble Opinion on YouTube. You can follow us on Patreon for exclusive perks. And we also try to upload it to Spotify, but we usually forget.
Yeah. There's still stuff on Spotify, though, that you can listen to that's really fun. So, and thank you.
She said, oh, there's In My Crumble Opinion in the fridge.
Yeah.
If you want to go onto Spotify, you can listen to Lady Gaga there. You could listen to
but
Madonna.
also
That's what I'm
thank
afraid
you to
of.
our patrons. I do want to say that. We'll do a quick little scroll. Thank you, patrons.
Just on this side of the screen, though.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Girl power.